right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our all levels flow. So we will go ahead and get started in child's pose. Okay, so go ahead and bring those toes together. Knees can come out a little bit wider. Okay, sitting those hips back to your heels, reaching those arms forward as far as you can. So stay active with it, pressing into those palms to press those hips to the heels, and then we'll just soften that head down to the mat, softening that chest down towards the mat. So when your knees are a little bit wider, you can get a little bit of a stretch through that upper back. Closing down those eyes. And just taking that big breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Just trying to connect with that breath. Focusing on that inhale and that exhale. As we inhale, we'll really expand through that rib cage. Maybe you'll feel that the rib cage pressing into those thighs. And then exhale that breath out just nice and slow. You're going to lift up slightly, walk those hands over to that right side. Big reach through that left arm as we soften the head back down. Press those hips back to the heels. Thinking about focusing the breath into that left lung. So a little bit more stretch to that left side body. And then we'll walk it to center and then over to that left side. So big reach to the right arm. Hips are pressing back. And then bring it back to center, coming onto those hands and knees, moving through those cat-cow. So on that inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as you look up. And exhale, we'll round that spine, press the shoulder blades away, draw that belly up and in. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. And now bring it back to that neutral spine. Go ahead and send that right leg straight back. Flex that foot, point those toes down. Now curl that knee into the nose. Inhale, extend it back out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. One more time, curl that knee in. Press that foot back out. And then we'll swing that leg over to that right side. So plant that foot down. Again, we're going to move through the cat-cow. So drop the belly, lift the chest, lift that tailbone, big stretch through that hamstring, that inner thigh. And then exhale, round that spine, press the shoulder blades away. So we tuck that chin. Inhale again, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, round. Last time, lift and lengthen. And round. And then bring it to neutral spine. Sending those hips back. Maybe it's just a few inches to start. Then inhale, bring it back up. And exhale, press it back a little more. Inhale it back up. And then exhale, press those hips back even more. Maybe all the way back to that heel. Keeping that back nice and straight. Hold for a couple more breaths. And now bring it back up. Go ahead and send that leg straight back. Left arm is going to reach forward. Find that balance. Then curl that knee and draw the elbow to the knee. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach it out and lower that hand down. Curl that knee into the nose, stepping that foot through. Inhaling those arms up into that lunge. So rib cage pulls down, pressing those hips forward, stretching out through the front part of those legs, especially if you've been sitting all day. This might feel a little bit tight. One more breath. And then we'll lower those hands down, sending that leg back to kneeling. And then let's go to the other side. Send that left leg back. Exhale, curl that knee in. Inhale, press it out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. And press it back out. Spin that leg out to the side. Plant that foot down. And then move through the cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. And now bring it to neutral. Go ahead and send that the hips back. Inhale it back up. Exhale, press it back a little further. Inhale it back up. And exhale, press those hips back as far as it will allow. A nice straight spine. Couple more breaths. And bring it back up. Go ahead and send that leg straight back. Left arm is going to reach forward. Exhale, curl that knee and tap the elbow to the knee. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. Last time, curl that knee in. Extend that leg and arm out. Lower the hand down. Curl that knee to the nose. Step that foot through. Ooh, just my knee here. Inhaling those arms up into that lunge. So press the hips forward, keeping that core tight. Stay with that breath. And then go ahead and lower those hands down, sending that leg back to the hands and knees. A few more rounds of cat-cow if you need it. So again, maybe some sways from side to side, or if you want to just hit a child's pose or some toe stretches. Just whatever you feel like you need. One more breath. And now stepping those feet back to a plank. Hold. Breathe. Moving those fingertips into the mat. Pressing into those palms. Excuse me, chest is pulling forward. Shoulder blades are pressing away. Then we're squeezing those legs together. Take that breath in. Then exhale those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet to the top of the mat. Inhaling the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend into those knees. Go ahead and rise up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. Lowering that right hand down side. Stretch over to that right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale it over to that left side. Inhale, reach it back up nice and tall. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, find that half lift. And exhale, plant those hands, stepping those feet back to our plank. Lower it down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deposit here in our down dog. Again, inhaling on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise to standing. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale, reach it back up. And exhale, fold. Flattening out that back on the inhale. And exhale, plant those hands. Step those feet back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back. Down dog. 2 more breaths. And now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet. Top of the mat. Half lift. And fold. Inhale, we'll rise. Exhale, side stretch to the right. Inhale it back up. Side stretch to the left. Inhale it back up. And exhale, fold. Flatten out that back on the inhale. And exhale, plant those hands. Step it on back to our plank. Move through that vinyasa. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Okay, now go ahead and step that right foot through to the right sub. Back leg is gonna stay lifted. Inhaling those arms up into our lunge. So core is nice and tight. We're sinking into that front knee. Okay, reaching those arms back as much as we can without arching through that low back. Let's sink a little bit deeper. Stay with that breath. So again, that big stretch through this left hip flexor. If you need to lower that knee all the way down towards the ground, if that's a little bit more accessible, you have that option. Now lower the hands down. Plant that left hand, twisting, right arm reaches up. Now lower the hands down inside that foot. We're gonna travel over to that long edge of the mat. So turning the toes out slightly. We're gonna lunge into the back knee. So it should be your guys's left knee. Bring it back to center, over to that other side. And center, and over, and center, and over. Good. Bring it back, turn those toes in, heels out, nice flat back, and then fold. Big hamstring stretch. Good, then we lengthen out, bringing those fingertips right underneath the shoulders. Core is nice and tight, back is nice and flat, so you might have to bend those knees a little more. And then we're gonna twist, reaching that right arm up, lower down, twisting, reaching that left arm up, and lower it down, walking those hands back to the front and stepping that foot back to our down dog. To the other side, stepping that left foot through. That knee's gonna stay lifted. Okay, obviously, if you need to modify, lower that knee down, inhaling those arms up, and making this work for you. Rib cage pulls down, core is tight, sink into that front knee. Good, one more breath. We'll lower the hands down. Plant that right hand, twisting, left arm reaches up. Now lower that hand down. We're gonna travel to that long edge of the mat. I'll face you guys. So you're gonna come to the back of the mat first. So bending into your right knee. We'll go center, over to that left side. Center, to the right. Center, to the left. So one more time each way. Keep the hips low as we go to side, center, other side. Good, bring it back to center. Turn those toes in, heels out, flat back as we fold. And then we'll lengthen out, Bringing those hands right underneath the shoulders, twisting. Right arm reaches up and down. Left arm reaches up and down. Walking those hands back to the front of the mat, stepping it back to our down dog. And now come onto the toes. Bend those knees. We're going to step those feet outside the hands. Flat back on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Turning the toes in. Heels out. Sinking those hips down into that squat. Chest is lifted. Nice flat back. Really drive those knees out. Sink those hips as low as you can. Okay, that may be all the way up here, but just want that nice flat back. Stay with that breath. Breathe. Active with the feet. Driving those knees out. So we want to feel this in those outer hips, in those glutes. Good. And plant those hands down. Straighten the legs as we fold. And plant the hands. Go ahead and step it back to a plank. Let's move through that vinyasa, lowering it down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Stepping that right foot through. Back knee stays lifted. Inhaling those arms up. And pull that rib cage down. Now lower the hands down. Plant the left hand, twisting. Right arm reaches up. Now lower that hand down. Side lunge. We're just going to do it one time each way. So over to the left side. Center. Over to that right side. Center. Turn the toes in, heels out as we fold. And lengthen out. Hands underneath those shoulders as we twist. Right arm reaches up. And down. Left arm reaches up. And down. Bring those hands to the hips. Go ahead and rise all the way up. Pivot, turn the right toes out, bending into that front knee. Coming in to that warrior two. So reach out through those fingers, sink a little bit deeper into that front knee. That rib cage is pulling down, tailbone pulls down, taking that arch out of that low back. Now lower that forearm down towards that thigh as we sweep that left arm up over our head into that extended side angle. Bend a little deeper into that front knee. Big reach, fingertip, all the way down through that back heel. Pressing that back heel into the mat. Inhale, we'll rise back up. Keep that front knee bent. Flip that palm. Reach it up and back. Keep bending into that right knee. Now reach out those arms. Straighten that front leg. Reaching that hand forward. Lower that hand down towards the shin. Then reach that left arm up. And spin that hand down. Stepping it back to our down dog. And then we'll go to the other side. Sending that left foot to the left thumb. That knee stays lifted. Inhaling those arms up. So big stretch to that right hip flexor. Sink the hips down. And now go ahead and lower those hands down to the ground. Okay, plant that right hand, twisting. Left arm reaches up. Now we'll lower that hand down. Go and walk it over. Long edge of the mat, bending into that right knee, side lunge. Bring it back to center. Go over to that left side. Good, and center. Turn those toes in, heels out as we fold. And lengthen back out, slight bend in those knees. Hands come right underneath the shoulders. Twisting, right arm reaches up. And down. Twisting, left arm reaches up. And down. And hands under the hips, bend into those knees as we rise up. Let's pivot, turn the left toes out, teeing up those arms into that warrior two. Sink nice and deep into that front knee. The core stays tight. Now lower that forearm down towards the thigh. So not a lot of pressure on it. We want to keep that core tight. Sweeping that right arm up overhead. Keep rotating that chest open. big reach, pressing through the back heel, reaching through the fingers, bending into that knee. That knee's gonna stay stacked right over that ankle. Inhale, let's rise back up. Keep that front knee bent, flipping that palm, reach it up and back. And now reach the out palms. Straighten that front leg, reaching that left arm forward first. You can lower that hand down towards the ground. Maybe it's just right here on that shin. Just the tiniest bend in that front knee. We don't want that leg locked out. We want that core tight, strong through those quads, through those legs. And we're gonna circle those arms down, stepping it back to our down dog. And then come to the toes, stepping those feet a little bit wider. We're coming to that squat stance, sinking those hips down, pressing those knees out. Breathing here. And now into those squats. So press these out and lift, back down, and up, down, up. Down here, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stand up nice and tall. Turn those feet parallel to each other, pressing the hips forward. Arms are reaching back, and fold. You're letting the head and the arms hang nice and heavy. You can grab opposite elbows. Just gently sway it from side to side. Go ahead and plant those hands, stepping it back to a plank. Lower it down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling, sending those hips back into that child's pose. So bringing those knees out super, super wide. You can turn the other direction if you need to. So we're not quite going into that frog, but we want to get that big inner thigh stretch. So with those side lunges, we were kind of already there, but still just working through that one. So knees wide, softening that chest down between the legs. Maybe that chest comes all the way down to the ground. That chin touches the ground. Stay active with those hands, pressing those hips back to the heels. If chin on the ground isn't comfortable for your neck, just go ahead and lower that forehead down. And let's come back onto hands and knees. Ooh. Go ahead and step it back to that downward facing dog. Stepping that right foot right outside the right hand. Back knee lowers down, pressing the hips forward. So we're coming into that lizard lunge, twisting. Right arm is going to reach up, and then we'll bend that back knee, reaching for that foot. So keep twisting, core is tight. Now, if you can't quite grab onto the foot, maybe we just bend into that knee, kind of get as close as we can. You can hold that twist here. Okay, and even if this is too much, just staying right here in this position is still getting you that quad stretch. And wherever you're at, just breathing. And release that foot if you have it. Straighten that front leg. Pull those toes back, half splits. And then we'll rebend into that knee. So this time we can lower down onto those forearms, onto those elbows. Pull that chest forward. Let that knee open up a little bit wider. And then come back onto those hands. And step it back, downward facing dog. Then we'll go to the other side, stepping that left foot right outside that left hand. Back knee lowers down. We'll twist, reaching that left arm up. Now start to bend that back knee. Okay, so maybe we stay here. Maybe we can reach for that foot. Keeping that twist, keeping that core tight. Pulling that heel right towards that glute. Couple more breaths. And then go ahead and release that foot down. Straighten that front leg as we pull those toes back into that half split. And then we'll rebend into that knee. Start to lower down onto those elbows. You can always stay on the hands. Just maybe try and bend into those knees or bend into those elbows a little bit more so we can get a little bit deeper stretch. If you're on those elbows, think holding that chest forward, flattening out the back as much as you can. And then come back to those hands, stepping it back to that downward facing dog. And now make your way into that pigeon. So sending that right knee to the right wrist, foot slides across. Slide that left leg back. Now, if you want even more quad stretch, you got another option. So bend that back leg, reaching. So the right hand is going to reach back for the foot. And the tendency is to want to yank that foot across the body. We don't want to do that. We want that big twist. We want that heel right in line with that glute. So that knee is tracking in that nice straight line. Now, for some of you, this might be a little bit more accessible. So if you couldn't quite get the quad stretch that first one, this one might feel a little bit better. And since the hip is really extended, it might feel a little bit better on that knee too, because you're on the muscle, on your quad muscle, and you're not on that kneecap. So this is an option. Try it out. If it's not happening, don't worry about it. You can just lower down onto the forearms and resting your head onto your arms, your hands. And then come back onto those hands. Step it back to that down dog. And we'll go to the other side. Stepping that left knee, left wrist, foot comes across, and then we'll slide that right leg back. Again, if you want that quad stretch, go ahead and bend that right knee. This time that left arm is going to reach back. So twisting, grab onto that outside edge of the foot. So the thumb is up right by that pinky toe. And now you can stay here in this position, or if you want a little bit deeper stretch, you can lower down onto that forearm. But just make sure that heel is pulling right to your right glute, your right butt cheek. Again, if this isn't happening or if it's not feeling great on your knee, just go ahead and release it. Just go right into that pigeon. And release. If you have that foot, you want to release it. Just go ahead and lower that head down, lower that back foot down. Come back up onto those hands. Sending it back to our downward facing dog. Just take a moment, let that blood flow back to those legs. Pedal those feet out. And then go ahead and make your way to on your backs. Just hugging those knees into the chest. Give it a little rock from side to side. So let's keep that right knee hugged in as we extend that left leg out long. Left hand will guide that knee across as we reach that right arm out for that spinal twist. Take that big breath in. And exhale, maybe we can soften into a little bit more twist. Bring it back up. Switching sides, hug that left knee in, right leg will reach out, and then we'll twist. Guiding that knee across, left arm reaches out. Again, big breath in. And exhale, see if you can soften a little bit deeper into that twist. Bring it back to center. Hug both knees into the chest. Just give it a little rock from side to side. And then bring it still. We're going to round that spine, bringing the forehead to the knees. It will extend the legs out, reaching those arms up overhead, that big full body stretch, fingertips down to those toes. And we'll exhale those arms down by your sides. Palms will face up. Shoulder blades will walk together. Take a couple breaths here. Just letting yourself completely relax and rest. And begin to deepen your breath. Just gently begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Reaching those arms overhead for that big full body stretch. And hugging those knees into the chest. Gently rolling it over onto your right side. Just letting that right bicep support the head. The left arm just falls in front, completely resting on your side. And then press yourself up into that seat. Sitting up nice and tall. Eyes remain closed. Hands are just resting on your knees. And taking that big breath in through the nose. And out through the nose. A couple more times just like that on your own. Leaving those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me this afternoon. Have a great evening. And we got abs. We got that power yoga, 25-minute power yoga abs class tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, you are welcome to join. Hope to see you guys there. Good night.